You might know Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. Well, the pro-Israel mob is going after him. It's interesting that for some reason they find that they're angry about him stating this. They're going after him because he publicly stated that he no longer believes the official 9/11 narrative. And he made a public statement about that. I'm still surprised, honestly, that it's 2026 and we talk about this stuff as if you're some nut job for thinking the very obvious fact that there's some really shady stuff about the official 9/11 narrative. Now, before I get too much into this video, I have to show my disclaimer here. This video is not intended to promote any sort of misinformation. It's just, examining public reporting documents and alleged allegations reported by establishment outlets. There we go. Now that I said that, I want to go back to this. I'm going to read to you guys what he said. And I'm going to tell you guys some things about 9/11 as well that I think are interesting. Again, not intending to promote misinformation. So he posted this today. I no longer believe the official 9/11 story. Two paper passports did not burn and were found on the rubble. But it was so hot. World Trade Center 7, World Tower Center 7 burned down across the street. Nonsense. It's time to look for who gained from 9/11. Our government doesn't work for us. They've been lying the whole time. And I'm actually kind of surprised by this ratio. I'm going to be honest, 39K likes to 3.4 million views. I would have expected like at least a couple hundred. And the reason I'm saying, the ratio of likes to views is because I feel like this is something that I assume that most Americans would kind of just agree with and be like, yeah, I mean, none of us accept this. I have to look at the recent polls to see what percentage of Americans believe the 9/11 report, because at this point, I think that if you, especially after October 7th, if you have been around and you've been following what's going on in the world since October 7th, I feel like you can't not be questioning things at this point. You can't look back and not be questioning things if you've recognized and looked and, realized what's happened over the past 3 years and the amount of lies the media has spread, the amount of lies about official narratives, and still thinking that one of the most tragic events in America's history, everything that's being reported on is official and there's nothing going on behind the scenes and we're not allowed to question who gained from it. And you guys know my thoughts on that. So after he posted this, Marjorie Taylor Greene then quote tweets that and says, "There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying this, asking questions and demanding answers. The American people have been lied to about so many things. Our government does not deserve our trust. We found him, the Joe Rogan on the left. Now they're saying he's a Looney Tune." It's crazy. So let's see if I can find any. I worry that the social penalty of announcing that you believe in nonsense is going down. It's not so much that people are more conspiratorial now than ever. That's clearly not true. Believers in make believe are an ancient tribe. See, now this is somebody who's like angry about Cenk, and I'm sure that I bet you if we look at his profile, he'll be pro-Israel. It's more like a falling social cost to high status folks saying insane shit and protecting themselves from accusations of insanity. Now, let me go ahead and search up Israel after I have to search up Israel on his profile to see if he said anything. Surprisingly, he has not said anything about Israel. Interesting. Well, so what we end up finding out, who is this guy? So we have another one, Womp Womp. Wow, you're 25 years late. And then there's so many Zionists that were going after him, like Richard Hanania. It took him 25 years to get here. When we become dumb enough that the incentives shifted for this acceptable view to hold, influencers grandfathered and from a previous area become crazier as they chase new audiences. See Tucker. Okay, anyways, let's just stop there. So now that we've talked about this, it bothers me that people think that it's like you're some tinfoil hat sort of person when you bring up this sort of stuff. It bothers me because I think that if you're actively looking at the evidence and you're looking at all of the stuff going on, you have to question some of this stuff doesn't make sense. To me, it's the fact that Netanyahu was so close to the whole damn thing. Netanyahu was so highly intertwined with many of the with Larry Silverstein of the owner of the World Trade Center. I think that to me was the biggest red flag. And the reason I say it was the biggest red flag Again, not intended to promote misinformation. Everything I'm about to say from this point forward, you can fact check yourself. It's all true. The fact that Larry Silverstein was having weekly phone calls with Netanyahu every Sunday afternoon, New York time. It didn't matter where where Netanyahu was or what he was up to. He would always call Silverstein. That's almost a direct quote from the Haaretz newspaper, Up in Smoke, the 2001. That's the name of the headline, and it basically said Netanyahu and Silverstein were friends immediately after the fall of the Twin Towers. Netanyahu called Silverstein. Actually, not just Netanyahu. 3 Israeli prime ministers called Silverstein within the fall of the World Trade Center immediately. Silverstein was heavily involved with the government of Israel, trying to get a free trade zone in the Negev desert. Heavily involved. Of course, he was late to work that day, or sorry, he had a dermatologist appointment that day, which is why he was late. And all of his children, all 3 of his children that worked at the World Trade Center, they were also late to work that day. Just spontaneously. He had a dermatologist appointment. All of his children were late to work that day. These are all facts. Now, you can make your own opinions based on those facts, but everything I just stated is fact. And I question certain things. Now, of course, there's a lot of effort to make anybody who questions these sort of things conspiratorial nut jobs. Because when you question these sort of things, there's a lot of dogma behind it to try to resist you from questioning it. And the people that put this dogma and that have really pushed this dogma are organizations like the Anti-Defamation League, where if you start to question certain things, you'll find article after article online as to why you're a conspiratorial nut job. Or go on Reddit, search some of this stuff up. Reddit is one of the most heavily moderated social media sites, and you'll see moderators just immediately take these sort of posts down. Why can't we talk about it? If it's so, if it's so insane, why can't we talk about it? I think one of the best things for fact checking is actually the way X handles things, a social media site X. And I really love community notes. I think community notes have have done a really good job at making people think for themselves. And it'll explain, hey, here's some more context, this is incorrect, and then it'll always cite the sources. Why can't we have that sort of thing? Why do things have to be deleted for misinformation? Why can't they just be community noted and let the public vote on what they believe is right or wrong based on what they see available right in front of them? I think that sort of setup works really well. And the fact that some of the 9/11 reports haven't been, not all of the 9/11 reports haven't been released yet. Well, if we're supposed to believe the official narrative, release it. Now, I'm saying that hoping the government would just do it and things wouldn't be destroyed. But as we all know, anything that's really incriminating will be destroyed before any sort of release. That's how things have always been. But it's nice. It's nice to see the tides actually shifting this way and the Overton window shifting, because the release of the files is really important that we get done. The Israeli connection, just so many. I really don't. I have to be very careful what I say in this one specific stuff because I don't want to have to keep repeating. I'm just providing information without this video getting demonetized. The fact of the matter is, I refuse to actually believe the official narrative, and I think that's a pretty standard approach to have. And we can go through all of the evidence to suggest, wait, there's something really fishy going on here, and which country ended up benefiting. You know who was also a U.S. congressman that also spoke out about the official narrative, rest in peace, is James Traficant. And I did a whole series on James Traficant. That was actually my first video on YouTube that went viral, about the only U.S. congressman that stood up to Israel before it was cool, way back in the early 2000s. And he was questioning the 9/11 narrative. And he stated publicly that there have been some individuals, some very powerful people that made a lot of money from 9/11. And, rest in peace. James Traficant died, I believe, in 2014. I wish he was alive today, because the world's a lot different. And now if he was alive today, people would have been like, James Traficant, he was right all along. Everything what he said, he was right all along. So anyways, guys, that's really it for this video. If you found it interesting, I'd appreciate it if you click the subscribe button below and give it a thumbs up as well. It helps me reach more people like you.